the game over.
What's up, keepers, and welcome back to ARS Goalkeeping. And today we're checking out the highly sought after and probably best ever glove cut that Adidas has made, the Adidas Hybrid Pro Freak Edition, which just dropped and is being used by the best goalkeepers across all the pro scene. And rightfully so. The last few times I reviewed these models in 2020 and 2019, I crowned them the best Adidas gloves out on the market. And Adidas has continued to tweak on this hybrid cut model for their latest drop, including what feels like a much more padded palm and backhand material that also comes down farther on the wrist than last year's model. But first, let's take a closer look at all the specs and features of these new gloves. The Hybrid Pro is, as you may have guessed, a hybrid cut glove. And this means that it has a mix of different cuts put together to make this new hybrid cut. In our model, this mix is primarily between the roll cut and negative cut, which leads to a unique rolled fingertip and thin fingers that make up that unique Adidas hybrid cut look. And on the palm, there's what seems to be 4mm of URG 2.0 latex. Although Adidas doesn't specify just how thick the latex is on their website, this new model does feel a bit chunkier than last year's, especially on the palm latex. And the backhand material, which makes up the rest of the glove, is also much thicker and more protective than previous models, which were ultra thin and super lightweight. And this theme of adding thickness to the glove isn't lost on the Demon Skin either, which has a lot less spikes than before, and also much thicker spikes that actually have a case on adding an extra springboard to the punching platform of the knuckles. And of course, there's this innovation of the strapless glove, with an even longer and thicker wrist insert than before. So I went to the back and pulled out one of my old pairs of last year's Hybrid Pro models sporting the URG 1.0 latex so that we could take a closer look at what the differences are and how they look. First up is definitely the wrist insert, which on the new Freak models have a much stricter hold and are not as elastic as the previous model. They also go a little bit farther down and really just have a little bit more weight to it than the previous models. And if we look across the backhand, the Demon Skin spikes are much thicker and farther spread apart. The material of the glove itself is much thicker, so it looks a whole lot fatter or chunkier than our earlier URG 1.0 model. But the fit on the fingers and across the hand is not very different at all. Both palms have been embossed for easier closing of the hand into a fist, and both have a very narrow fit on the fingers that feel like you almost have to push your fingers into the rolled tips of the glove, which I personally enjoy very much. This is making it apparent that Adidas has begun listening to the critiques of us and deciding to add a bit more stopping power and weight to make the glove better at eating the sting of shots and giving that bit of extra protection that gives keepers some peace of mind. Yet, this doesn't change the fact that Adidas still decides to keep the Hybrid Pro a completely strapless glove, only with SMU models going out to top pros that end up strapping their gloves for added security. And even though the wrist insert material flares out a little bit more, is a little thicker, and does feel a little bit more secure than the last model, it does not equal the added security a wrist strap gives to the glove, especially the wrist strap that made the Adidas Pro models so freaking popular. Performance-wise, the Hybrid Pro is a dream. The cut is still Adidas' best glove cut ever, and even more so with the added weight to make even the strongest shots simple holds. I love the rolled fingers and of course the rolled thumb that gives you the utmost amount of latex on the ball. And this URG 2.0 latex isn't really that sticky at all. On the ball it does get the job done, but you won't see it sticking to the other glove, which isn't something you super need, but it definitely does not equal the stickiness of a contact latex. So if you're one of those keepers who love a sticky glove, these aren't it, and won't even come with a plastic covering the palm because of the embossed latex doesn't pick up that much dust as much as a stickier latex might. But let's take a look at our gloves after a long month of training here in Germany, and what we can see is that we have lost some of the spikes on the backhand and rips and tears have begun around the fingertips, which is exactly what we should expect on a rolled fingertip cut like this, as the tips of the fingers get the most friction and most actions. And here's where I get heated with Adidas. Halfway through our review, I slid on these gloves a little too enthusiastically and ended up pulling up part of the wrist strap free of the palm, resulting in a tiny little hole that didn't change my fit at all, but it has put a stopwatch on this glove, because sooner or later this hole is going to grow from rubbing up against the ground or just wear and tear of putting the glove on and off, and it really is annoying. If you're going to force a worse product forward by going strapless, at least make sure that these tears aren't so commonplace. It's one of the biggest issues when putting on strapless gloves. You can end up tearing the gloves by just gripping one area too much, which is an absolute shame. Now, I seriously don't expect Adidas to care about this at all, as they have made it known that they will force the strapless fad onto the market. But this is something that made the Adidas Hybrid Pro lose its top place to the new Adidas competition model that gives you everything that you want, especially even a removable wrist strap for a cheaper price. So make sure to check out a review on them if you haven't already. And for the price of about $150 or 120 British pounds, the Hybrid Pro is still the best glove cut that Adidas has made, but for its price, the competition model is a much better choice. If you do like this strapless trend, these are probably the best strapless gloves out there, hands down, and I would recommend them to any strapless aficionado. So yeah, that's it. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to ARS Goalkeeping. Help us grow by smashing that like and subscribe button. Plus, joining our ARS Discord, the largest goalkeeper Discord out there right now. So stay tuned for our new shirts to drop, and finally, more reviews. Give us a share and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you guys so much for coming, and I'll see you guys again very soon.